How's it going, everyone? I am back with another video. This is going to be my Week 10 picks video, where I just go through all the games, kind of break down my thought process as to what I think is going to happen, and pick a winner. So, just dive straight in here. So, I'm doing a little better with my picks. I'm at about the 89.5 percentile in my league. There's about 700 people, I think. Got some couple new people added, I think, every week. So about the 90 percentile if you just round up there. Um, yeah, so started off slow, but been picking up the past couple weeks. Got the Thursday game right with the Ravens. Probably should not have. The Bengals probably should have won that game, which I had a kind of a gut feeling the Bengals might sneak away with that one, but had to pick the Ravens, and thankfully they ended up winning, so I got that game right. But diving into the Sunday games here, first one we got is Giants Panthers. This is gonna be a game. This is gonna be a game here. Oh boy. Sorry to the Germany fans. We're gonna have you suffer through this game. So I'm gonna go with the Giants in this game. I mean, both these teams are not good, but the Giants are the better team. They've played a lot better football than the Panthers this season. Panthers have just played bad for pretty much the whole year. Even last week when they beat the Saints, which that in itself isn't very impressive, but the Saints outplayed them last week and they put up stats. They were the first team to lose like ever in NFL history when they put up like the stats they did compared to their opponent. And besides that, they had that upset win against the Raiders with Dalton starting, maybe the surprise factor. But besides that, Panthers have just looked absolutely abysmal all year. The Giants had the same record as them, but they've looked a lot better. They're playing teams tough. They're playing them close. For the most part, they have a couple bad losses in there, but for the most part, they're playing teams close, and they're just a better team than the Panthers. I think they match up well with the Panthers. I think their defense is going to give the Panthers a lot of problems. Offensively, I think this could be a really good game for the Giants. Panthers defense is just awful, just terrible everywhere. Giants offense has really been they've had moments throughout the year where they've been able to move the ball, but they're having trouble punching in the end zone, scoring six there. Had to settle for a lot of field goals this season, but I think this is the game where the Giants offense they get some touchdowns on the board, a good amount. I feel pretty good with the Giants in this game. That defensive line could give Bryce Young and company some problems. That Panthers offense and defense is just not good. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Giants. They're the better team in this one. I mean, the Panthers maybe they pick up their where they left off last week, and they I don't know they put together a good game. I could see a scenario where their defense maybe plays well. Offensively, though, I just think they're gonna have a rough game. I'm gonna go with the Giants in this game. I'll say I could see the Giants. If the Panthers win, I think it's definitely within one score. It's close. The Giants, I'm gonna say they win by more than one score. I don't think anything like egregious, like four scores or anything like that. But I'll say the Giants win this game. Say 20, hmm, 24-27 for the Giants. I'll say 24. I'll say 24-13, but honestly, it could be like 24-10. I'll say 24-13 Giants, something like that in this one. My team going up against the Bears, the Patriots. Yep, definitely going the Bears in this one. I mean, the Bears are just the better team, even though the past 2 weeks they haven't played very good. More so last week. Well, their offense has been bad to the well most of the year, but the past 2 weeks it's been bad. But their defense has been something else this year, even though not really the Commanders game had played great, obviously, besides that Hail Mary. But the well, maybe not great 'cause they were getting the ball moved on them, but they clamped up in the red zone. That's where it matters most, obviously. They definitely played well enough to win the game. Should have won the game. Obviously, if the team wins off a Hail Mary, that's a little bit lucky. Even though the Commanders did outplay them and probably also did deserve to win that game, Bears also blew the game. Just kind of weird how both teams should have won. But I think the Commanders definitely deserved that one. But anyway, getting back to this game here. Yeah, Bears defense is just they're just a much better overall team at Soldier Field. They really have been struggling on the road with Matt Eberflus as the head coach, but they're at home coming off a 2-game losing streak. They want to make a playoff push, and yep, this is a perfect bounce back opportunity for them. They're going to play obviously my team, the Patriots. We're struggling. We're 2-7. Our offense with May is definitely a lot better than it was with Brissett. Obviously, May is the mobility factor, and Brissett's mobile too, but May obviously is more of a scrambler than Brissett. So maybe May can get some decent scrambles, but I think our offense is going to have a really tough time in this game. Bears defense, I think, is going to clamp our offense. We have very little run game, a good portion of this season. Last week, I think outside of May, we had 15 rush yards between our main running backs there. So that's usually a problem. But our offense is like pretty. I was going to say decent. I guess I'll say decent with May. When we have to go hurry up or pass heavy offense, though, with May, it actually looks pretty good. So maybe the key to us pulling off this upset is if we can somehow keep the game close, which the Bears' offense, again, is not good. Our defense, it started off the year like okay, and it's been okay most of this year, but it had a couple weeks where it was bad. But so maybe our defense could play a good game, keep us in the game. I could see this definitely being a very low scoring game, like 20 to 10 or something like that. But the key to us is our defense is going to have to hold the Bears to very minimal points because I just think our offense is going to have a rough time in this game. I obviously I hope I'm wrong. I hope my team wins, but yeah, I think the Bears offense will have a decent game, but not a great game. DeAndre Swift might have a big game in this one. They've been getting him more and more involved. He's been kind of like their spark on offense, and our run defense has obviously been very suspect. Pollard ran the ball a bunch on us last week. Had the London game, the Jags ran the shit out of the ball with us. Tank Bigsby pounded it. So yeah, Swift could get a lot of carries. Look out for that in this game. I'm just gonna say Bears win this game. I'll say 24 to I'll say 24 to 13, 23-13. I'll say 24-13 Bears. Hopefully I'm wrong though. My team can somehow pull off a win here. Bills Colts, kind of an interesting game. I'm gonna go with the Bills in this game. I mean, they're just the better football team. Usually when they play a team like this, which it could be a trap game, Colts are 4-5, but they definitely are capable, I think, of beating honestly any team in the league. The Bills usually don't fall into trap games like this. I see some people predicting the Bills are going to win this game in a blowout. I could see that, but I think it'll be relatively close. I think the Colts defense has been playing better the past couple weeks, but I think the Bills offense is really good showing in this game. The Bills defense, I think, I kind of split between if it plays well or if I could also see the Colts offense scheming with Shane Steichen and Joe Flacco not having the best of games last week, having a bounce back game this week, having a good performance, and it's oh, and the Cavs just won. They're now 11-0. Wow. But yeah, Joe Flacco, if they and Shane Steichen, the Colts offense, have a bounce back performance last week against the Vikings, they obviously didn't play well offensively. So that's definitely a possibility. But I'm kind of, my gut's kind of feeling 17 points to the Colts. I could see probably between 17 and 24 points scored between the Colts in this game. The Bills, I think they're going to put up a good amount of points. I'll say the Bills put up 27 points, somewhere around there. You know what? I'm going to say the Bills. I'm going to give the Colts an additional 3 points. I'm going to say the Bills in this game 27-20. I think this could be one of those games where maybe the Colts get out to an early lead and it's like, oh boy, Bills. But then the Bills just kind of take control, kind of like last week against the Dolphins a bit, even though that was just a weird game, sort of. But maybe it's like that. But I could also see the Bills like just blowing the Colts out. I don't think the Colts blow the Bills out. If the Colts win this game, I definitely think it's within one score. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Bills in this game. On the road though, in Indy, maybe Colts a little desperate. They don't want to fall to 4-6. So they just oh Darius Garland takes over and 14-point comeback win versus Nets. Jesus, they came back into my team had to come back into the Nets last night in overtime. That's our scrappy team this year. But anyway, what was I just saying? I just lost my thought process now. Yes, Colts maybe don't want to fall to 4-6. It's an extra motivational factor. I don't know. Maybe. I definitely could see the Colts winning this game, but I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think it's close though. Could be one of those games with it goes down to the last drive. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Bills in this game. 27-20. Broncos Chiefs, this could be a very interesting game. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. If this was in Denver, I would be more inclined to pick the Broncos, but I mean, I'm a little bit tempted to pick the Broncos. Not a lot of people in the league, but I do see some people around all the sites and the people I follow and such picking the Broncos a decent amount. But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see it. The Broncos, obviously, they play the Chiefs twice a year. They're in the same division. So both times they played them last year, the Broncos defense played very well in both games. The first game was a Thursday night game. It was the Chiefs were they were up the whole game. Their defense was pitching a shutout till late. I think the Broncos were holding them to just a lot of field goals in that game. And yeah, I think the final score is 16-8 if I remember right. It was just the Broncos defense played very well, and then the Broncos offense didn't really do anything till late. Made it interesting. They scored, got a 2-point conversion to cut it to 8, if I remember right. And then the second time in Denver, the Broncos won. And the Chiefs offense just looked like absolute shit. The Broncos defense played another really good game in that one. And the Broncos offense was playing good too. Broncos offense has been coming alive the past couple weeks. They've been putting up points, except last week they just got shellacked by the Ravens. And the Broncos defense played well all year pretty much, except last week they really struggled. If there's one thing about the Broncos under Sean Payton, it honestly seems like the week after like a ugly bad loss they had like last week, the week after it usually doesn't seem to affect them like in any negative way. So I mean I definitely could see it. With how tight the Broncos played the Chiefs last year and they split, they won one game against them. The Broncos offense come back alive. The Chiefs are due for a loss. Obviously, they're extremely overdue. They keep winning ugly. They keep winning ugly. They're 8-0. They won 4 games in the postseason last year. Then they won the week 18 against the Chargers, even though it was just, mostly their second stringers. And the Chargers had Easton Stick that game. They were just beat up too. But they played their starters. They still won. So the Chiefs, so that's a 13-game winning streak I'm on unless I'm miscalculating or just forgetting about something. So they are certainly overdue for a win. The Broncos, how tight they played them, I am very tempted to pick them. I just think the Chiefs usually don't fall into a trap game. And not saying this is a trap game. The Chiefs are definitely well aware of how surprisingly good the Broncos have been this year. And obviously how tight they played them last year, a division game. I just think I'm going to say this game plays out similar to how their game in Kansas City on that Thursday night played out last year, where the Chiefs offense, it's fairly efficient. It moves up and down the field, but the Broncos defense stiffens up in the red zone, forces them to field goals. I just think the Chiefs defense is going to be what wins in this game. I think the Broncos offense could have a rough showing in this one. But I also could see the Broncos offense playing well. Just, I don't know. It's just kind of a gut feeling that I could see the Broncos offense playing well and just guys being open and Sean Payton scheming guys open, Bo Nix finding them, hitting them. I could see that. I'm gonna go with the scenario of the Chiefs defense plays really good. Just similar to last year, the Chiefs just a lot of field goals, but the game is always within the score of that the Broncos could reasonably come back. They might make it interesting late. If the Broncos win this game, which again definitely think is very possible, I think it definitely isn't within one score, and it's going to be like a dramatic finish, the last drive of the game. Maybe the Broncos defense stops the Chiefs and Mahomes, something like that. Which actually, now I didn't even think about this, but Mahomes with his ankle injury, maybe he's going to be a bit hobbled. Obviously, Vance Joseph, very aggressive defensive coordinator, so maybe he tries to, you know, take advantage of Pat Mahomes' ankle injury. Who knows? Maybe send some blitzers, something like that. But Mahomes and the Chiefs are usually really good against the blitz. I'm just gonna say the Chiefs end up taking care of business like normal in situations like this. In KC, yeah, I'm gonna say they win this game. I'll say, hmm, um, yeah, what do I want to say the score is? I'll say 23 to, hmm, I'll say 23 to 14, which I know that's two scores. It's 9 points, but I don't know. I just think it's going to be kind of a weird, kind of just ugly score like that. Maybe 23-17, 23-16. Hmm. Yeah, I'll say 23 to 16. Why not? I think this will be within one score. It'll be close. Chiefs probably get a close win. Hopefully, I'm wrong though. I'll be pulling for the Broncos because I freaking hate the Chiefs. Falcons Saints. I'm definitely going with right. See, I'm going with the Falcons this game. I shouldn't say definitely. The only thing that's concerning me about this game is these teams played the second time these teams have played, and the first time they played it was went right down to the wire, and the Saints probably should have won the game. They had the lead with a minute left, and the Falcons ended up just getting it to the edge of field goal range, and Young-Ho Koo ended up making the game-winning kick. Obviously, that was a couple weeks ago. The Saints were a lot healthier than Olave. Obviously, I think they put him on IR today. But the another thing that's kind of concerning me is they fired Dennis Allen, which I think is definitely good. Which their defense and their I mean, I don't think their team is going anywhere in general the rest of the year, anywhere up in the right direction, I mean. So I figured they would hold on to Dennis Allen until the end of the year and then probably fire him. But they fired him now. And usually when a team fires their head coach midseason, like the Saints just did, the team gets a fire lit under them, and they usually come out maybe energized and they just play much better the following week or the following game. So that definitely is a possibility. Maybe they just play, I don't know, more not like Dennis Allen was holding them back. I like from a play calling perspective or any. I don't know. I'm just a fan, obviously, but maybe they just play more freely. I really don't know anything about their special teams coach, but he said, that everything's going to be that took over as the interim head coach. That he said everything's going to be under evaluation. So maybe they're going to change some things up. Maybe it surprises the Falcons. Saints are at home, so maybe they get out to a good early lead. They start playing good football. Maybe their fans get into it. Falcons have been playing good. They're kind of due for a slip up game, I guess, which they did kind of have a couple weeks ago against the Seahawks, but maybe they might have another slip up game in this one. Who knows? Divisional games are always kind of tough to predict, even though the Saints are just bad, especially, when they in a situation like this where they just fired their head coach. So, I mean, I'm not going to say 100%. I'm like guaranteeing a Falcons win, but I'll probably put like a 70% confidence level on it, like a 70-30 split. I mean, the Falcons are obviously just the better team. Their offense has been playing good. Their defense has been playing solid. Saints are just a mess. Their offense actually looked good last week, and their defense looked half decent, but just, I mean, like they looked decent last week and they outplayed the Panthers. I was talking about it earlier, and they put up stats and like that have never happened in a loss before when looking at your opponent's stats, and they still lost that game. Obviously, the Falcons are far better than the Panthers. So I don't know. That was on the road though. Maybe being at home helps Saints, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Falcons. I'll say they win this game. Hmm. I'll say 20. I'll say 27 to 17. I definitely could see a scenario where the Falcons win a very close game, like a 27-24, maybe 27-20, something like that. You know what? I'll say 27-20. Maybe a dramatic finish again. I don't know. This is obviously most people are just picking the Falcons without much hesitation, which I understand. But to me, this kind of could be a trap game. I'm gonna go with the Falcons though. Niners Bucks. I'm going with the Niners in this game. Could be an interesting game. Excited to see how this one plays out. Obviously, the big story in this one is Christian McCaffrey coming back. The Bucks defense has just been an absolute disaster the past couple weeks, although they did play well for portions of the game against the Chiefs, but it's just bad. Their pass defense has been bad, and I think Kyle Shanahan's going to take advantage of that. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's back. Maybe they limit his workload a little bit, but maybe they just also just give him the ball, just let him run loose, just give him a shitload of carries, a shitload of catches. Maybe they just let him go loose. I just think the Niners offense is going to have a really good day in this one. And trying to think, they were on the bye last week, right? I'm not losing my mind, right? Okay, why do I feel they didn't? Okay, I'm like 99% certain they were on the bye. Let me look this up though. Niners bye week. San Francisco 49ers schedule. Okay, yes, week 9 bye. All right, so that's what I was going to say. Kyle Shanahan coming out of the bye. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head like the past couple seasons how they performed, but I do remember last year they came off. They were on a 3-game losing streak. They had a bye and they came off it. They played the Jaguars, who at that point in the season the Jags were riding high. They were one of the best teams in the league at that point, and the Niners demolished them. I think the final score was 27-3. I don't think the Niners going to win that convincingly, but I just think their offense is going to put up a good amount of points, and I think their defense could play pretty well. The Bucks obviously missing their top two wideouts, Evans and Godwin, but their offenses look pretty good since considering that. So obviously they played good 2 weeks ago against the Falcons, and they moved the ball when they had to against the Chiefs. And obviously the Chiefs defense probably you can make an argument it's best in football. If not, it's definitely top 3. So yeah, I think the Niners defense could play well though. I do see a scenario where the Niners could just blow the Bucks out, but if the Bucks win this game, I think it's going to be because I just feel pretty confident with the Niners. But if the Bucks win this game, I think it's because their offense just maybe it just clicks like it has been for a majority of the season, even without their top 2 guys, and their defense maybe just gets back on track. But I just feel pretty confident with the Niners. I'm going to say the Niners win this game. I'll say, I honestly kind of want to say they put up more than 30. I'll say the Niners win. Oh God, what do I want to say the final score is here? Uh, I'll say 28-17 Niners. I just feel pretty confident with them, but I could see them scoring more than 30. I kind of want to predict it, honestly. Uh, Let me think. Let me see what the final scores in these 2 teams played last year. I remember the Niners were up a couple of scores, and it looks like the Bucks cut into it, and they had a bunch of chances at the end. The Niners defense stiffened. Um, yeah, 14-27 last year. I think it's going to be around that then. I'll just stick with my 28-17 prediction in this one. Okay. Steelers, Commanders. This is a very interesting game. Cannot wait to see how this one plays out. I think this could be a very defensive game, defensive battle. Commanders defense been playing a lot better the past couple weeks. They obviously traded for Lattimore, so that's going to greatly increase their secondary, the strength of their secondary. That was kind of an issue this year. Obviously, specifically their corners. Obviously, Lattimore is going to help out with that. Let me see if he's playing though in this game. Um, yeah, okay, he's out. That's what I thought. So yeah, he's out. So obviously not playing this one. That's kind of a blow to them, but I'm still gonna pick them anyway. The Commanders. If this was in Pittsburgh, I probably would lean Steelers. I still might pick the Commanders. I just think that this might be the game the Steelers defense kind of slips up. Their defense has been balling out all year, the Steelers, and their offenses look pretty good under Russell Wilson. They're coming off the bye. Mike Tomlin teams usually play pretty well off the bye, if I remember right. So part of my gut, though, kind of feels that the Steelers get out to an early lead and the Commanders just aren't playing well. And it's like, oh my God, like what the hell is the Commanders doing? Like the same old Washington. And then they make a late push and it looks like the Steelers might blow it and they end up holding on in dramatic fashion at the end. I kind of want to say that happens, but I'm going to go with the Commanders here. It's very hard to pick, though. I think the Commanders' offense is going to have a decent amount of success. I think their run game is going to have a good amount of success. As good as the Steelers' defense has been, it really has not played like a top tier offense like the Commanders this season so far. And it seems like the Steelers might be a little vulnerable in the run game at times. So obviously, Gene Daniels, that could be a problem. Obviously, mobile quarterback, maybe a little bit less now with his rib injury as he heals through that, progresses through it. But Brian Robinson, I think he's back in this game. I sure hope so for my fantasy team. So yeah, that could cause problems. Their run game. I just think the Commanders' pass game could be good too. Commanders defense, I think, will play pretty solid, but I also think the Steelers or their offense will play like it kind of has all year. Where I feel like the Steelers in any game are always due for at least like 17. I could see this being a defensive battle, like 20-17, something like that. Even though I kind of want to go with that scenario of the Steelers getting an early lead, then almost blowing it, and then winning in dramatic fashion. I'm gonna just give the Commanders the win here. I'm not very confident in this one though. I'll probably say like a 60-40 confidence split with me in this game. Uh, I'm gonna say Commanders win. Uh, say 20. I'll say 24-17. I could see 27-20. I'll say 24-17 in this game, but do I want to say 27-20? I don't know. All right. I'll say 24-17. God, do I want to say 27-20? I also could see like a 23-20, like a 26-23, something like that. I'm just gonna say Commanders 24. You know what? I'll say 24-20. Why not? 24-20 Commanders. That'll be a good game though. Vikings, Jags, definitely going the Vikings in this game. My guy, Mac Jones, getting the start with Trevor Lawrence getting hurt, which I'm sorry. I like Mac Jones. Obviously, he had his problems, but I think we failed him as an organization. I always was a Mac Jones supporter. Obviously, I can see why a lot of people weren't that were New England fans, and I'm not going to like fight them on it. It's, Mac Jones definitely was not great after his rookie year, but we just failed him with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge and not getting any weapons. Like a quarterback's most important year, a young quarterback's most important year is arguably second year, and we gave him Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to run the offense. Matt Patricia, the play caller that year, and no elite receivers. Like Hurts got AJ Brown, Josh Allen got Diggs. Well, that was Josh Allen's third year. Like Tua got Waddle and Hill, and look at how they turned out. So, and then Mac Jones, we just gave him nothing, an absolute disastrous offensive line. But anyway, my point is Mac Jones isn't too great, and Brian Flores' defense with his disguise scheme and his aggressive blitz scheme, that could have disaster written all over it for Mac Jones. Because the Vikings defense has kind of gotten torched in 2 games. And what were those 2 games? There was the Lions with Jared Goff, obviously a veteran quarterback, which it's weird to say that. He still feels like he's a very young, well, he is young in general, but the NFL, this is the 8th year now. And who the hell was the other? Mind my blank. Oh, the Rams with Matt Stafford, obviously very veteran, poised quarterback that knows what he's doing, how to read a defense. Those 2 guys kind of torched the Vikings defense. Not so much points for the Rams, but they were able to move the ball very efficiently and put up a good amount of points. It was 30-20, but 28 offensive points. I remember X2 came off that safety. But the other quarterbacks, besides Aaron Rodgers, have mostly been just not great quarterbacks. Mac Jones is, I shouldn't say that because there's like obviously Stroud's great. Obviously Rodgers not so much this year. He's obviously an all-time great, knows how to read the defense. All right, so I shouldn't say that, but I guess my point is that the quarterbacks that have had success against Brian Flores' defense this year have been veteran quarterbacks that really know how to read and diagnose defense. Mac Jones, he's kind of a vet now, as weird as that is to say, but obviously he's a backup this year, hasn't got much playing time. I assume got reps with Trevor Lawrence being hurt with the first team here. I just think it could be a disaster for Mac Jones. The Vikings, though, do have a tendency to not necessarily play down to their competition, but make things a lot closer than it needs to be. Perfect example of that is last week against the Colts. Vikings were moving the ball up and down the field, moving it very efficiently for the most part, and they missed 2 field goals. Sam Darnold had 2 bad picks. So they like to make things harder than it needs to be sometimes. The Jags have been picking up the past couple weeks, really, ever since that Texans game. They played pretty good. Or I shouldn't say pretty good, but a lot better. They looked dead in the water against Philly last week, and then they obviously came back. It looks like they might have stole that at the end there if they were able to get that touchdown. So they've been playing a lot better, but I mean, it's a trap game. I don't think the Vikings are going to fall into it. Their offense is just better. Their defense is better. Their coaching's been better. Obviously, coaching a big question mark for the Jags this year. I'm going to go with the Vikings in this game, but I definitely could see a Jags win. Even though I'm picking the Vikings to win, I do see a scenario where the Jags could win this game like by more than 1 score. But part of my gut just thinks the Jags could win this game like a surprising blowout fashion. But I also, if they do win this game, I think it's a bit more likely it's a 1-score game. They just hold on narrowly. Jags are still obviously trying to win, though. So Doug Peterson probably knows his job's on the line. So obviously he's going to be trying extra hard to win. They've come close. I guess they're due for a win. And it's a good team. I don't know. The Jags defense, I think, is going to have to play a good game in this one, which it definitely is possible. The Vikings offense has definitely shown signs of vulnerability the past couple weeks. I just think the Jags offense could have a rough showing. And then maybe, who the hell knows? Maybe they do look pretty good. I mean, not to base it off of preseason, but Mac Jones are pretty damn good in the preseason. Obviously, it's the preseason. This is, real life, or not real life, but the regular season with all the starters in there, and it's meaningful. So, I don't know. I could see a scenario where the Jags just surprisingly put up a good offensive and defensive performance, but I'm just going to say the Vikings defense plays well. Vikings offense plays pretty well. I'm just going to say the Vikings take care of business in this game. I'll say 20. Hmm, I'll say 27 to I'll say 27. I kind of want to say 16, but I'll just say 17. I know I always like predict similar scores for all my games and all my picks. It's just what I think. Just what I think. Yeah, I'll say 27-17 Vikings. They just control this game and are able to win it. Oh boy, here's another game. Titans Chargers. I am 100% going with the Chargers in this game. I would be surprised if John, I'll even say I would be, and I've said this like I feel like twice this year, and it's backfired on me. But I would be shocked if the Chargers lost this game. I'm gonna knock on wood here. My desk is wooden, so hopefully that just knocked that narrative away. I mean, the Titans are just, I mean, they beat us last week, but obviously it's not saying much. We're terrible. The Titans have just been awful all year. Their defense is pretty stout, though, besides that Lions game. It's been pretty stout, pretty underrated. I could definitely see this being a defensive battle, maybe very low scoring to start. I just feel really confident that the Chargers are going to. I'll even predict a slow. I could see a scenario where the Chargers just start hot. They have the lead and they just take control of it. But I'm gonna maybe say this game's a. It starts off low scoring, maybe first quarter, and then after that, the Chargers just click into gear and their offense gets rolling. They just get out to an early lead. I I think the Chargers offense has been coming alive lately. Their pass game, more specifically, it's really been looking good. Their defense has been balling out all year. I'm pretty sure it's the number one scoring defense in football. Titans offense is not good, obviously. Uh, Will Levis, I'm pretty sure, is back in this one, so I didn't even think of that actually. I was just kind of talking through this game as if Mason Rudolph was going to start again. Not that that makes a difference, but Will Levis is. I think Mason Rudolph has been better than Will Levis this year, and by like a pretty not significant, but a pretty good margin, honestly. Will Levis usually good for obviously there's all the memes about his bad turnovers. Probably gonna have another one in this one. Chargers really good at forcing turnovers. I said last week they're probably not gonna let Winston get away with the mistakes he made against the Ravens. They didn't. They picked him off, I think, 3 times. So yeah, I just think games like this, Jim Harbaugh, I mention all the time, likes grinded out defensive, low scoring games like this at the start. Usually just finds his footing, his team's footing as the game progresses. He just likes games like this and usually wins them. I feel very confident with the Chargers. I think their defense plays very well, balls out. I think their offense plays pretty good. Titans, if they somehow win this game, I think it's just going to have to be off of just a randomly good offensive game, and their defense just holds the Chargers to minimal points. I mean, I think they're honestly going to have to just get like good field position off of turnovers or something. I just feel very confident with the Chargers and like I would probably put like a 95% win probability on the Chargers. I just feel very confident with them in this game. I'm going to say Chargers take this one 20, I'll say 27 to 10. I feel pretty confident the Titans won't be scoring more than 17 points unless they get like a pick six or just great field position off a turnover or something like that. Definitely going with the Chargers in this one though. Eagles, Cowboys. So even though Dak is out and it looks like he's going to be out the year, some reports are saying from a season-ending hamstring injury. So I think the recovery is 4 months. So yeah, that's the whole year. So yeah, yeah, that is the whole year. Unless well, I was thinking maybe they make a Super Bowl run, but that won't be happening. Well, who knows? But I feel very confident that won't be happening. Maybe people are, oh, they're gonna make a Super Bowl run. Dak can come back in time, but yeah, I don't think the Cowboys were making a Super Bowl run this year. I'm going with the Eagles in this game. They've been playing much better football than the Cowboys pretty much this whole season. towards the start of the season, though, the Eagles weren't playing great, but ever since that Bengals game 2 weeks ago, they've really been playing well. They were dominating the Jags last week and then kind of got back to their old habits of just kind of questionable head scratching decisions by Nick Sirianni, going for two, going for 1 4th down when you don't need to. And just they turned it over. They allowed the touchdown off the Barkley fumble. Just had some bad habits kind of creep back into the game last week against the Jags. Was narrowly close. Did not need to be. The Eagles outplayed them for a heavy majority of that game. Should have blown them out. I mean, their offense is clicking. Their defense is clicking. Their defense looked very, very good for the past couple weeks, but for a majority of the year, really the only game that looked bad was that Bucks game in the week one against the Packers. But that was just a weird game, the Brazil game with players slipping and just miscommunication. That was just kind of a weird game. And even then, they kind of clamped down when they needed to. But and obviously the Cowboys, on the other hand, they're 3-5. They just lost Dak, so they get Cooper Rush, who actually is serviceable. And yeah, their offense just been bad. Their defense, though, is going to get a boost. Micah Parsons, they announced, is going to be playing this one, so obviously that's a big boost. It's just that, I mean, there is a part of my gut that kind of wants to pick the Cowboys. The, the lead up to this game reminds me a bit of in 2020 when the undefeated Steelers went into Dallas, and I'm pretty sure it was the game after Dak got he broke his ankle and was out for the year, and they had Andy Dalton start the rest of the year. I think it was the game after that, and no one gave the Cowboys a chance in hell. It just logically it made almost no sense to pick them in that game, and they played well. They had the lead, and then the Steelers ended up having to come back and win very ugly. Win on the last play of the game there. Cooper Rush, if I remember, I think was throwing it in the end zone to win the game. It got batted down, and the Steelers also got I forget exactly what happened, but I just remember a lot of talk after that game on the sports shows was the Steelers got bailed out by the refs. Kind of giving me vibes of this game. Obviously, the Eagles aren't undefeated, but just pretty much everyone just picking the Eagles, no hesitation. Again, Cooper Rush, the week after Dak Prescott is out for the year, Cooper Rush is in there. Uh, obviously, it was Andy Dalton, but Cooper Rush, the backup quarterback's what I mean. The backup quarterback's in there the game after Dak's out for the year, just like it was with Dalton in that game I was just talking about with the Steelers in 2020. And Cooper Rush is serviceable. So maybe part of my gut just wants to say the Cowboys, the game plays out similar to that. The Cowboys play well, have an early lead, and it's like, oh my God, are they seriously going to pull off this win? And the Eagles end up coming back, win ugly at the end of the game, late in dramatic fashion on the last play of the game. Cowboys offense could play well. Maybe their defense, big boost at Parsons back, but even with him and DeMarcus Lawrence, it was bad most of this year. I don't know. Just Cowboys just going to have to pull off and up. I mean, I definitely could see it happen. I'm probably leaning like a 70-30% probability that the Eagles are going to win this game. I just can't pick the Cowboys. Eagles are just much better. They're on fire right now, pretty much. Maybe not on fire, but rolling. Cowboys rolling in the wrong direction. I just, if the Cowboys win, I could see them winning by more than one score. That scenario plays out the way I said with the Cooper Rush and everyone just playing good. But I'll say it's close. They win in dramatic fashion. I could definitely see the Eagles just blowing the Cowboys out. But I kind of want to say they win close. I'm going to say the Eagles end up they blow the Cowboys out, and maybe the Cowboys put up some garbage time points, make it more respectable. I'll say the Eagles win 27. I'll say 27-17. I know I keep predicting that, but maybe 27-21. I don't know. Obviously, this is also a divisional game. These teams usually play each other very tight, big rivalry there. But I'll just say the Eagles win 27 to. You know what? I'll say 27-21. I'll say they only win by one score. but I also could see them putting up like 35 and it being like 35-21. Yeah, I'll just say 27-21. Definitely gonna go with the Eagles there though I could see the upset. Okay, I get some water here. Okay. Jets Cardinals. Here's another interesting game. So the Jets are favored in this game. That surprised me a little bit. They were favored last week against the Texans too. I picked them against the Texans. Just a gut feeling that they were going to win that game. They did. Maybe that gets their season back on track. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this game, though. I mean, the Cardinals are they're playing really good right now. They're on a 3-game win streak. They want to keep winning to maintain their division lead. They're at home. Jets have obviously been bad this year. Last week against the Texans, their defense played well, but again, the Texans' offense has just been struggling ever since Nico Collins out, and obviously Diggs was out last week. So Collins, it looks like, is back in this game though. Or actually, I mean, what the hell am I talking about the Texans for? Looks like Collins is back in this game. I mean, but it looks like Collins back for them, so that's good. I have him on 2 fantasy teams, so thank God. He's still their leading receiver, and he missed obviously a couple weeks now. But anyway, I don't know why I just got sidetracked there on Nico Collins. But yes, the Jets defense balled out, but I guess it's a kind of yes, Stroud's elite, but he's missing his top 2 guys, and your defense it hasn't been playing great the past couple weeks, but I mean it has the ability to. It played well at the start of the year, then just ever since they played solid, kind of has not been playing great. But it played great last week, but it's just against not the greatest competition with Diggs and Collins. So obviously Stroud, not the issue, but even though Stroud didn't play great last week at all, their offense really it was just out of sync, miscommunications for the first half. Besides really that Deshaun Jackson drive with their rookie that they should have had. But then the second half, the Jets offense was pretty damn good. So, I mean, that definitely could be the turning point. Maybe the Jets come into this game. Even though I'm picking the Cardinals, I do see a scenario where the Jets just go into this game. They are rolling, their offense is clicking, their defense clicking. They win this game just pretty comfortably by more than 1 score. I also could see a scenario where they win close, the Jets. I just can't pick it to happen. I mean, the Jets, I don't know. I get so many different scenarios and thoughts in my head about this game. The Jets are favored in this game. So if Vegas maybe thinks this is the game where they turn it, or last week was when they turned around and they just continue into this game. Get a pretty close split in this one. It's a 40-60, well, sort of close, closer than a lot of the other ones here. Actually, I think this is the closest ones. Oh, no, this one is, but Steelers and or actually, no, yeah, this is closer than even this game. It's a little bit surprising, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just could see a bunch of different scenarios. I just think Kyler and his mobility and James Conner and the Cardinals' run game might be giving the Jets some issues in this game. Cardinals' defense has been playing better as the year's gone on. Jets' offense, maybe last week in that second half. I mean, we've seen ever since Todd Downing took over at parts throughout the game, they look good, but they just struggled for a full game to kind of put it together. I still think their first game against the Bills is probably their best offensive performance under Todd Downing in terms of a consistency basis. I don't know. I just think the Cardinals defense could give the Jets some issues. Maybe it looks a little bit out of sync, just unorganized like it did last week in the first half against the Texans. And the Cardinals, I don't know. This is very difficult for me. Honestly, this is close to a coin flip. I would honestly say like a 55-45 confidence probability for me, confidence level. I'm just very split. I know I'm logically saying more why the Jets could win than the Cardinals, and I'm picking the Cardinals. The Cardinals just been better, consistently better. They're at home. I just think the run game, Kyler's legs could give the Jets issues. Cardinals defense been playing better. It's very hard to pick this game. Honestly, this is probably either this game or the Steelers Commanders game is probably the hardest game to pick for me. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say the Cardinals take this one though. I do see a scenario where the Cardinals could win this game by more than one score comfortably, but I'm gonna predict a close game. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna predict a. I'm very split. I could see a close scenario. I feel like it's more likely the Cardinals win this game. It's just like the Jets just were disorganized on defense and offense, and the Jets and the Cardinals win comfortably. I'm gonna say the Cardinals win. Uh, God, I'll say 20. Hmm, I'll say 28-17, and I keep saying 17 a bunch, but then I don't know. I definitely can see the Jets win. It would not surprise me at all. If the Jets win this game, though, look out. I think their season's they're gonna probably start stacking some wins so they're able to win this game. Oh God, definitely can see a scenario where the Jets offense just plays well, knowing their defense plays well. They get some confidence in them after last week. Oh my God, I honestly might pick the Jets, or I change my pick here. I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with the Cardinals, 27-17, but I'm not confident at all in that one. Lions, Texans. So with Nico Collins being back, it's a bit more interesting. I assume he's going to be probably on limited reps, working his way back from the injury, especially a hamstring injury. You usually want to be cautious with. I'm going with the Lions, though. I mean, the Lions are just absolutely rolling. Their offense has obviously been on absolute fire. Last week, they didn't put up a great amount of points, 24, but really only 17 offensively. Seven of them came off the pick six. So, but I think it's just because they played the way the game was going, where they they realized they didn't need to move the ball up and down the field and score. The way the defense was playing and the weather, the sloppy, wet weather conditions in that game. So if they really needed to, they would have put up a lot more points and yards if they like absolutely had to push the ball and was absolutely necessary. Their offense has been on absolute fire. Their defense has played really well. Obviously Stroud, I mentioned getting Collins back. So maybe their offense starts. It's kind of I mentioned it's looked not great since Collins has been out. So maybe their offense gets back on track. The Lions are due for a slip up. They've been winning, mostly in blowout fashion. So they are due for a slip up. Texans looking for a bounce back win after an ugly loss against the Jets last week. They're at home Sunday night. Good opportunity to hit the reset button, get a good win, good bounce back winning. It's a really good team. So, yeah, maybe that could happen. The Texans defense has been playing really well all year, though. So again, the Lions are due for a slip up, especially offensively. So maybe the Texans defense limits the Lions offense, and with Collins back, Texans offense, they had a players only meeting that maybe cleared some things up so they look a lot better, more like they did at the start of the year. So maybe that helps their offense a bit. I definitely could see the Texans winning this game. I think if they do, it's just a bounce back performance. Their defense plays well, offense plays well, just an all around good performance. But the Texans win, I think, will be within one score. I could see them winning by like 10-14 though, and maybe it's just the line just play a bad game for the most part. I think anything beyond two scores, I really don't see happening for the Texans. I wouldn't shock me, but a little surprising. But I'm gonna go with the Lions. It's just their offense has been better, their defense has been better. They just go into every game, and it just seems like maybe this game they slip up, and it just hasn't happened yet. And I'm not going to predict it to happen in this one. I, I just think that I could see the Texans defense really playing a good game. The Lions offense struggles a bit, at least in terms of how well they've been playing most of this year, mostly the past couple weeks. And maybe the Lions defense kind of has to step up and help win the game in this one. I honestly think this is a close game. I see some people picking the Lions to win fairly comfortably. I think this will be a close game. I honestly don't see. I think the most the Lions win by is like 14, but I honestly think it's a one score game. I'm going to say the Lions win, maybe a bit low scoring than people think. I'll say 20. I kind of want to say 24-20 or 27-20, 27-21. I'm going to say the Lions win this game 24-20, maybe a bit low scoring or a bit more low scoring than people think. Defenses play well, both of them. Both offenses are like fairly efficient, but not great. I think the Lions just win this game. It's close. Definitely could see the Texans winning this game, but I'm going to go with the Lions in this one. Dolphins Rams. I'm going the Rams in this game, but would not at all surprise me the Dolphins win. This has trap game written all over it, except the Rams usually don't fall into trap games. Especially last week with the Rams playing is just. I mean, they were like trying to give the Seahawks the game in the first half. It looked like just a weird game last week, and then they really played well in the second half, but they just could not put the game away. They just kept letting the Seahawks hang around, and they almost blew it. They ended up having to win in overtime. And the Seahawks, they had a good opening drive in overtime. They just got stuffed by the Rams. So Rams defense, that was obviously clutch. Their defense played pretty well in last week's game against Seattle. Defense has been really good all year. Maybe a bit surprising. But anyway, my point is I don't want to say it was a trap game last week. So it was a division game against a really good team that normally the teams played each other tight, but just maybe a bit of a weird performance, just sloppy, not great performance in the Rams. They're able to win. So I don't think that happens. If the Rams play like they did last week against the Seahawks, I think the Dolphins win this game. Or maybe not. I don't know. I could see the Rams winning this game did last week, but the Dolphins, I don't know. Rams offense just been clicking with Kupp and Nakua back. Their defense, I mentioned, has been playing good all year. Dolphins, they're 2-6, but they really have had some tough losses. That Colts game, the Bills game, and the Cardinals game. Even if they had just won two of those, they are 4-4. They're 500. Their offense has played pretty good since Tua's came back. Obviously, last week they looked unstoppable in the second half. I think they scored a touchdown every drive except the opening drive of the second half where they fumbled. Cardinals game, it looked good, but Tua maybe knocking some rust off. They were moving the ball, putting up points, but it definitely looked better last week, I think, than the Cardinals game 2 weeks ago. And their defense it actually seems like it's been like not as bad as what a lot of people have been saying, but it has obviously not been very good this year for the most part. Certain games it has been against not great offenses, but the Rams, I think Sean McVay and company, Stafford, just scheme up, execute very well in this one. Defensively, though, for the Rams, I think they actually play like a solid game, but I think the Dolphins are going to put a good amount of points in this game, and I think the Rams defense is going to be able to not allow themselves to get like torched constantly. Yeah, the Dolphins though, do I really see them falling to 2-7 with how close some of their games have been against pretty solid teams? Yeah, this one's hard to predict. I definitely could see the Dolphins winning this game. I'm just gonna have to go with the Rams though. Like I said, I think the Dolphins offense is gonna be able to play pretty good in this one. I could see their defense just kind of having a random good game where they play well. That's gonna be the key. If the Dolphins can just for the Dolphins to win, the key is if they can get off to a fast start offensively, maybe not even a fast, yeah, I would say a fast start, and they just put up a good amount of points, like somewhere in the high 20s, something like that, and their defense just gets off to a hot start. I just think the Rams offense is if, not at the start if it doesn't. I don't know. If it doesn't do it at the start, I think the Rams offense is going to find its footing as the game goes on, kind of like it did last week. against Seattle. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with the Rams. They're the better team. They're getting hot. They've won 3 in a row now. Pretty, I mean, not great record wise, but pretty respectable. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. Just the Dolphins aren't as bad as their record. I guess a sneaky Dolphins team get a good win, get above 500. The Dolphins, though, are just going to be trying to probably pull out all the stops in this one. They do not want to fall to 2-7. Obviously, they're due for a win, especially against a good team. But yeah, the Rams, I just think, take care of business in this game. Would not at all be surprised the Dolphins win. I think the line. See the line in this game. I think it's very close. I want to say the Rams are only favored by 1. I want to say. Let's see. Yeah, Rams favored by 1.5. So Vegas is being a little cautiously optimistic about the Rams in this one, or not up, but just cautious about the Rams in this game. So yeah, I hard game to predict, but I'm gonna say the Rams take this game 27 to. I think I said 27-24. That's why I have 51 as my total points tiebreaker. But now that I'm saying it out loud, hmm, do I want to? Do I want to? I think the over/under is like 49.5. I think that's around where the total is going to be. Kind of want to. I feel pretty confident with the 24 to 27 range to the Rams. I'll stick with 27. As far as the Dolphins, do I want to? I don't know. I might dock them a couple. I'll just stick with my 27-24 prediction in this game. Definitely could go either way though. So yeah, some pretty good games this week. Going for this one, this one, this one, this one. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Not really so much this game. I think the Chargers pulled the Titans out. This game could be interesting. This game definitely should be interesting. This game could be interesting, but I think the Niners win comfortably. Not really looking forward to this one, although wouldn't surprise me greatly if the Saints pulled off the upset. This one will be interesting. I think the Chiefs probably win ugly. This could be interesting. I think this is closer than a lot of people think. I hope this is interesting. My team can somehow pull off the win, but I don't see it, unfortunately. This game, I mean, the Giants really need to win this game if they want to somehow make a push for the postseason, which they're still trying to do. They absolutely need to win this game against a horrible Panthers team. So I think they take care of business. 9:30 tomorrow. I gotta get up early tomorrow anyway, but if I didn't, I still would be waking up early for this game. Not that 9:30 is like super early, but when I sleep in, I usually only sleep in till like 8 or 9 at the latest anyway. But for a decent amount of people, this is early. I'd be getting up early if I didn't have to anyway, just to watch this game. That's how much I love football. Oh God, just so sorry to those fans in Germany for subjecting them to this game, probably. But anyway, pretty good variety of games this week. We're getting over the halfway point. Can't believe that's happened already. So yeah, a couple good games, good variety of games this week. Hopefully I do good with my picks again. I've been doing a lot better. Gotta throw down some bets. Big fantasy week for me. Yeah, I will end the video here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck, as I always say, with your fantasy betting, picks, all that good stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed, and take it easy, guys. Thank you for watching.